Ephemerality, a word originating from ancient Greece meaning lasting only one day. The modern day interpretation is the concept of things being transitory, existing only briefly or fleeting passes in time. The ideas behind my project was to create a series of short films and images that invoked emotions linked with the feelings commonly associated with ephemeral moments. My hopes were that after watching my work, people would walk away and think about short moments in their own life which truly impacted them. And while everyone is aware of it, the idea that nothing truly lasts forever was something that I wanted people to try and comprehend and grapple with in their mind. I wanted to do this by showing scenes that are both relatable and familiar, as well as scenes that force viewers to enter situations they may have never experienced before, to show a range of emotions that can vary in such a short space of time. Another one of my aims with this project was to ask the question, how do we class something as ephemeral? As we know, the word originally meant something lasting just a day. However, the modern day interpretation of the word seems to leave it a little more in the air. So I set my focus on creating a conversation piece that would allow people to determine the answer for themselves. By creating a short film that features a multitude of different events, each featuring an impermanent event based on scale and age of the featured object. While it may seem like a contradictory statement, the film was meant to be both hyperbole and open for interpretation, as ultimately the viewer gets to decide for themselves. I feel like for this specific project, a conversation and a chance to allow people to brainstorm and think about the topic is far more valuable than the actual answer. From the start of the project, exploring the emotions that are linked with ephemerality and the transient nature of time were just as important as the concept of ephemerality itself. When researching how these concepts coincide, I stumbled upon a Japanese concept of mono no aware. The term translates to the pathos of things, but the term is more often used when describing the beauty of things passing. As an emotion, it falls between sorrow and serenity, and so, to feel mono no aware is to experience impermanence, the inevitability of change, and the tranquility of transience. Often all these things at once. Cherry blossoms, the national symbol of Japan, are considered the embodiment of this sentiment, blooming for a short period of time with vibrant colours before falling away. The concept of mono no aware originated during Japan's Buddhist-influenced Hyena era between the years 794 and 1185. Japanese cultural scholar Kazumitsu Kato wrote that understanding mono no aware in the Heian period was almost a necessity for a learned man in an aristocratic society. Time when it was a prominent concept, Donald Ritchie wrote that the term has a near-Buddhist insistence upon recognition of the eternal flux of life upon this earth. This is the authentic Japanese attitude towards death and disaster. According to Ken Moji, a Japanese scientist, the idea that life is composed of ephemeral things, transient things, is central to Japanese culture. The Japanese people typically don't think in terms of eternal values, ultimate goals, or these things that perhaps constitute Western culture. The Japanese are more concerned with the fact that in every moment of your life, you change really gradually. More often than not, you don't return to the same state ever again. A person doesn't stay the same. Japanese people have always taken this realistic point of view that everything in the world, every life, every person changes. Change is the only reality in this world. That is mono no aware. With the understanding of what mono no aware now was, I was able to research others' work to see if I could potentially translate the feeling of mono no aware into my own work. I decided to look at a classical Japanese work that had mono no aware as a major component of their work. My personal favourite was Kenji Mizoguchi's film Ugetsu Monogatari. The theme of mono no aware is deeply interwoven into the fabric of this classical Japanese cinema masterpiece. Set in the turbulent Sengoku period, which contained some of the most brutal civil wars in Japanese history, portrays the fleeting nature of life and the poignant beauty found in the transience of the world. Through the tragic tales of its main character, the film encapsulates mono no aware by highlighting the impermanence of human desires and the sorrow that accompanies the loss of passage of time. Mizoguchi's use of ethereal cinematography and narrative pacing evokes a melancholic atmosphere that mirrors the concept's essence. The film's visual and thematic emphasis on the inevitable decline of the ephemeral nature of glory, love, and ambition serve as a contemplation on the inherent sadness of being. In the film, Mono no Oware is not only a thematic backdrop, but a character. After my analysis of Mizoguchi's work, it aided me in understanding how I could incorporate ephemerality into my own work in a subtle yet powerful, distinct way. My use of 3D and ability to control a versatile virtual camera gave me the opportunity to become an amateur filmmaker of sorts, giving me the option to incorporate similar techniques as Mizoguchi used, such as short yet beautifully framed and composed shots, with emphasis on the importance of the depth of field and focus in order to temporarily highlight some things of importance. I felt the best way of doing this was using Blender to simulate photorealistic scenes and events, giving myself control over the creation of assets, animation, as well as overall scene composition. It allowed me to set the tone over any event I wanted to create. After any animation was completed, I used Premiere Pro to stitch the scenes together, as well as adding music and sound effects. Overall, I feel this was an effective way of translating my vision. However, with certain scenes with a large amount of high-quality assets, render times would be extremely long, and when these scenes were rendering, working on other scenes wasn't possible, which occasionally led to disrupted workflows. However, I felt this was an improvement from 6.1 as I learned to not only manage my time more effectively, but I felt this project had more opportunities for using 3D, which is the professional area that I'm hoping to get into after university. I felt this project allowed me to test my visual skills and my skills as a graphic communicator, as one of the main themes of my project is evoking and understanding emotion. If I was to change anything about the project, however, I feel as though I would have wanted to change to a more human-focused projects. As interesting as the nature side of ephemerality is, I feel human stories have a higher ceiling for people's ability to get emotionally invested into something. After all, the whole concept of Mono no Oware is about the emotion we as human beings feel when we use our sentience to acknowledge how much our lives and the world around us has changed, and that everything that has ever been or ever will be will eventually die. Another large influence on my work was one that even took me by surprise. Exploring the theme of ephemerality meant finding something that emphasises the importance of time, and especially of small moments in time, and how they can impact one's life, as well as the impact emotion can have on one's life as well. And not many movies illustrate this better than Click. That's right, the 2006 Adam Sandler classic is the perfect display of importance of ephemerality and ephemeral moments. Click skillfully explores the theme of ephemerality through the nature centred on the misuse of a supernatural universal remote that controls time. This device, initially seen as a means to navigate life's unwanted moments, becomes a poignant symbol of life's fleeting nature and the irreversible passage of time. The protagonist Michael's journey with the remote control serves as an allegory for the human desire to expedite or bypass less desirable aspects of life, such as work, stress, or family responsibilities. In his eagerness to achieve career success and personal comfort, Michael fast-forwards through daily routines, arguments, and illnesses, only to find that he has also skipped the meaningful moments that define fulfilling life, his children's milestones, intimate moments with his wife, and the gradual changes in his relationship and self. The film's exploration of ephemerality is most vividly realised in its climax, where Michael discovers the cost of his choices. His life, now a series of skipped moments, leaves him with a profound sense of loss and regret for the time that he cannot reclaim. This realisation encapsulates the movie's message: life's value lies in the impermanent moments, and attempting to control or escape them only leads to a diminished existence. Though its narrative, Click conveys a compelling message about the importance of cherishing every moment in life, highlighting the ephemeral nature of time. It suggests that true fulfillment is found not in the pursuit of perfection or avoidance of discomfort, but in the embrace of life's transient moments and the growth of relationships and memories that they offer. Thus, Click serves as a reflection of the ephemeral essence of life, underscoring the significance of a living life fully in the present. With these themes in mind, this led me to want to create something that embraces similar ideas. The skipping of essential parts of one's life in order to show its value, highlighting how nothing lasts forever, and if someone was to skip through life, how would that make one feel? The loss of time is something that almost everyone fears. So how would this affect the people if it was forced upon them in such a severe degree? I felt this project would be an interesting discussion piece, and I'm very happy with how it turned out.